Cool. Cool. You ever heard a better clap?
I have not heard a better clap. That was flawless.
You think so?
I hope so.
Well, if there's anything that the past few months has shown us, it's that nothing is ever as it seems.
Yeah?
I think so. Do you not feel the same?
I don't know. Some big things have happened recently in the gaming world.
Oh my gosh! Not only in the gaming world, but the world at large. And I think it's no surprise that you and I have had. I wouldn't say no communication, but I would say slim to none as far as what's about to happen in this next hour or so. Other than we may or may not repeat the same things that we've heard from the world. So we got some news, we got some stuff, we got some things. Do you want to kind of go back and forth and see what we got, or how do you want to go? You just want to word vomit?
So I only have a couple things because I have a feeling you've got the other big ones, but
Huh?
something that just recently happened.
Yeah.
Bethesda bought by Microsoft.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Rather a large piece of media news there.
and I mean Bethesda recently had some pretty big and public blunders, but like
No.
financially they were fine. So I don't understand this unless it's just like the shareholders wanted a you know a father figure to watch over their
A father
misbehaving
figure.
child. I don't know.
Holy, what an analogy. I would applaud you if I didn't want to clap into this microphone. That was very good. That was great. I enjoyed that.
Hey, Bethesda can like in their games are some really fun and good experiences if they could just get past their issues that they've had for 10 years. We will see
Yeah.
how things go moving forward.
It was what you just said was very encouraging, but also taking into the fact that it was ended by the past 10 years. That kind of puts a damper on things, but it's never too late to turn a new leaf.
Maybe more than 10 years. I don't remember. I mean, all of their games have been buggy, but I don't think their first two, Arena and Daggerfall, which were before our time. I've played them since, but I don't remember them being nearly as buggy as like the newest 3 Elder Scrolls and then even their Fallout games.
Skyrim was a 2011, 12?
Right, 2011.
Okay. Yeah, huh. No, so that's insane. And correct me if I'm wrong, this was a surprise to everyone, right? I mean, this wasn't something that was, that there were rumors about or anything.
Correct.
Or was it?
At least not that I saw. Like, it wasn't in my circles at all, so I don't know where it came from. I'm sure that some business people probably knew it was coming, but...
Oh, the business people. You got to love them. They have deep pockets, I think.
But there is some decent implications that come with this, actually, for us, right?
Tell me.
The last time that... Because also, Microsoft also owns Obsidian. And the last time that both Bethesda and Obsidian worked together, they made Fallout New Vegas, which is what a lot of people say.
Highly loved.
Yes, it was people's favorite Fallout game. So if they end up working together, and nothing has been, rumored or denied about that, but just the fact that they're under the same publisher now means that Microsoft could decide, yeah, you guys are going to work together again, and they would have to, right? So,
Did I tell you I never played New Vegas?
you should play New Vegas. It's
Listen,
good.
there are a lot of things that I should do, okay? No, I've listen, the game has been started and a controller has been in my hands.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've played more than 15 collective minutes of it. And for no other reason than just I played Fallout 3 in its entirety.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I don't know. I'm not sure. I guess it just didn't grab me because then I came crawling back for Fallout 4, which was a mixed bag. I didn't have as many, mind-blowing things to say about it as some. But yeah, I never really fully immersed my foot into it as opposed to just dipping the toe. All right, and we're back. My internet died. We're not going to talk about it because there's no point. There's no point. I don't remember what we were talking about. What we're talking about.
Okay, well, we were talking about Fallout
Yes.
New Vegas.
Fallout New Vegas. I haven't played it. It should be great though. I've heard a lot of good things.
And I don't know if you caught this part, but my last observation as your internet was running away was that it's a lot like 3, which you said you had played.
Yes.
But I think it's better. I think generally the public reception is that it's better than 3. Obsidian definitely put in some things that I enjoyed. It's still
Well,
not like my favorite Bethesda game ever, but I think
sure.
it's better than 3.
So, like, name quickly, briefly. The news is hot. We have so many things. Three things that were different in New Vegas than 3 that made it set apart. Besides like the setting and the location and all that.
Well, I think that is the biggest thing, right? That
Oh,
Fallout 3 was pretty dark, I remember, and the setting was pretty gray and boring.
yes, bland.
Fallout New Vegas definitely isn't like the most exciting setting. It's another wasteland, but I think it's more colorful. I don't know. It's brighter. It's I don't know,
It's like
but the
Arizona or something, isn't it? A desert.
something like that. Yeah, the side quests are, and just even the quests in general are far better written, I think, and they're fun. Like there's one mission where, and this isn't much of a spoiler at all because it's a side mission, but there's one mission where you have to help these people who are trying to escape the Earth in a rocket and go to a new planet. They're like some kind of cult, right? And they think that they're
Hmm.
going to find their heaven on a new planet.
Yes, yes.
But you have the ability to either sabotage the rocket so that when they take off they just crash and die. You could
Hmm.
do that if you want, or you can like change the direction and they just like head towards the sun, or you can actually help them do what they're going to do.
What
And
did you do?
well, I reloaded my save and did all 3 just to see what would happen because they were so
Huh.
funny. Like
Sure.
the rocket takes off and it just collides. It just like, doesn't even like it just falls off the platform and crashes, and
Oh.
it's pretty funny. But yeah, so I don't know. The side quests all have like choices, and you affect their outcomes, which affect the rewards you get for doing them, and I just think the writing is better.
Hmm. Hmm. So with Fallout's and the New Vegases and circling back to the Bethesda merger, it wasn't a merger, I guess. I don't know what you want to call it. What were your general thoughts when you heard this? Because I mean that this means, in a nutshell, amongst many things, that the majority, I think, the majority of Bethesda's catalog, Elder Scrolls, Doom, the Fallouts, all that stuff, they'll be coming to Game Pass.
Probably yes, and it also means that those games will be Xbox exclusive too in the future, I would imagine.
Yeah,
But that doesn't affect me because that means they'll also all be on PC. So,
yeah. We all know. We
but
all know.
PS5 owners, I mean, no more Elder Scrolls, I guess, unless you also buy an Xbox or a computer.
Yeah,
But
well, and so I've been hearing, sorry, that there were, I can't remember all the details. There were a few games that have been announced or whatever prior to this that Xbox and Bethesda were going to honor the multi-platform release.
hmm,
But then, the games after that will be like a case by case thing.
well, that's interesting because even with that, you have to imagine that. I mean, people are still looking critically at Bethesda right now. I mean, the recent releases haven't been exactly stellar. So,
Sure.
I mean,
76.
right, 76 was a mess, and even though they're working on it desperately, I think it was a cash grab, and it wasn't really and
It
this is
wasn't
just
baked with love, is what you're saying.
right, and I think there's a lot of AAA developers who aren't baking with love, as you just
Oh
said.
my
I think
goodness.
there's a lot of AAA developers that are following the money more because, and I'm not saying it's the actual individual developers at these companies. I think it's more executive type decisions that are causing these problems.
They're wearing a suit and tie, probably.
But I mean, this stuff is happening everywhere. But yeah, I do think that their next game releases, and maybe Microsoft will have a hand in making sure that they make it better. I don't know, but I think their next releases need to be good, like really good.
Yeah, I would say so. Um, so in that same spirit, one of the things on my list, and by the way, disclaimer: if the people that are listening to this are anyone like us, they're already aware of all this information to some extent. So if we're a little late, it doesn't matter because we're going to talk about it anyway. So Microsoft, Bethesda, Microsoft also announced the Xbox Series S and the Series X price tags. Series S is $299, Series X is $499. November 10th release date. Also, the PS5 was announced at $499, and then digital for $399.
Hmm.
Was that something you were aware of at this point?
I was, yeah, the Xbox was a little while ago. The PS5 was just recently announced, actually.
Yeah. What
Um,
were your initial thoughts on these, on such numbers and and things.
I said that my initial thought was even $300 was a little high for a system that's kind of pointless to buy when you have a computer. So
What? Not everyone has a computer.
no, but even
You
if you
can't
don't
project
have
your computer onto them.
but still, I mean the quote unquote exclusives for Xbox, the only one I see is Halo that I care about anyway. So I don't know. And like you said, if the new Bethesda game's going to be on all platforms for the next few iterations or whatever, then honestly, I don't really see the point to buy an Xbox for me personally.
Sure. Well, and as I've been internally meditating on this topic and thoughts of purchasing, cards on the table, I probably will get one at some point.
Yeah.
For no other reason than just, the classic. A lot of my friends have the Xbox, and I'm assuming they'll get one too as well. I still have my Xbox One. I got it in 2013. Like that, this was like the first model of the Xbox One or whatever, the first iteration, and I still have it to this day. Works fine. Sometimes the fan is really loud. I think that's fine. It hasn't set my house on fire yet. So if anything, I had thoughts about just getting the Series S because it's cheaper. It's all digital. I know the specs are different from the Series X, but from the little bit of research that I've done thus far, granted not a super deep dive, really the only thing that it doesn't have going for it is the space. At least vanilla, it doesn't have a lot of space, especially for an all digital console. But I'm already using an external drive anyway for my current Xbox, so that face value, that doesn't spook me. And the little bit different specs, I don't care enough about to spend another $200. Does that make sense? What do you think about that? Am I a fool? Should I not?
I don't know. I mean, if I don't like the price of 300, if I don't find the point in 300, then I'm not gonna encourage 500.
Yeah, sure.
But in your specific case, I do think it's probably a better idea. As long as the console isn't like weaker performance wise, like won't like have more load times and be laggier. As long as that's
Sure.
not the case, then I don't see the reason to pay $200 more.
Well, that'd be another thing to talk more about at a later time, because I would like your input, mainly because those kind of numbers go over my head and I only have a basic knowledge of them. But yeah, so that's not going to happen anytime, not this year for sure. But yeah, $300 is a little bit more stomachable to me than five and all that jazz. There was a bunch of conundrums with the pre-orders for both consoles, the Xbox and the PlayStation. Not sure if you heard about that.
I
Crazy
did.
things.
I
Yeah,
had some
crazy things
thoughts
going
about
on.
that too.
Go ahead, please.
So, and I don't know how much of a nutcrack theory this is anymore, but this happens every console release for every company.
Okay.
They never
Did it
make
happen for the
enough.
Switch? Oh,
Yes.
gotcha.
And honestly, I think it's on purpose to drive sales, right? Because then the demand goes up, and then when they say, "Oh, we have stock again," then everyone buys one in a panic. I think it's just a shady thing to do, personally, and they all do it, so it's not like it makes one company better than the other.
Sure.
But that's my thought.
Hey, I know we're 15 minutes in, but this is the Greater Mythos podcast, a very unorganized podcast. You know how we are, so there's that. Sorry. I debated on even doing it at this point, but you gotta be dedicated, I guess.
You could have just skipped it, honestly.
Yeah, I know. I don't think I was gonna be able to sleep tonight if I did. I would have said it in my sleep. Anyway, no, that's an interesting thought theory. I don't know, man. It's
you can't miss the mark that many times in a row and just call it a coincidence. You know what I'm saying?
mean, so not to, I have no reason to defend anyone or anything, and not that that's what I'm going to do by saying this, but how much of this do you think is, lends a hand to the pandemic and the production setbacks and halts in regards to that, as far as,
Well, I mean, I'm sure that COVID hasn't helped production by any means, but I mean, every console release that I can remember has had problems with stock. So they just don't send enough to stores. And I think that their reasoning for it is, well, what if people don't buy it? Then the stores are loaded with stock and we lose a ton of money. So it's only
Isn't that with like any other product though?
I
Like
don't
if
know.
you like, I don't know, I don't know. Maybe hopefully that wasn't a stupid thing to say. Anyway, yeah. So the Series S, I had thoughts about that, but all digital, and we talked a few episodes ago about the idea that in a nutshell, PlayStation is banking more on the hardware and the capabilities of their console, and Xbox is more like, yo, well, PlayStation with its exclusives too, but Xbox is more, yo, ecosystem, Game Pass, buying up a lot of major studios to apparently or hopefully get more exclusives down the line. So yeah, I mean the Series S more or less is a Game Pass machine, which can either be a positive or a negative thing depending on who you ask. Me, I think I sit in the middle. I mean, I have a good amount of physical games and a good amount, digital. I think for the foreseeable future, I'll probably be getting digital mainly so I don't have to sit up and change discs whenever I am. Yeah, I know, right? I know. But I did buy Avengers on hard copy only because, well, I kind of wanted the case because Avengers, but also I traded in some physical games, so I felt like I had to do it like that. Anyway, any closing thoughts on Xbox?
Well, unless something incredible happens and there's an exclusive that's not also on computer that I really want, I probably won't be getting one personally. We'll
Sure,
see. I think the console I would be purchasing is the PS5.
sure. Okay,
May
so let's do that. So sorry, I'm gonna totally interrupt you because so I don't forget. So the PlayStation 5, they had their big thing. Um, did you watch any of the reveals, like any videos like that for the PlayStation?
I watched some of them. I already have a good idea of what I want on it, though.
Hmm.
Some of the games that they released in their like trailers or whatever were like meh to me, but
Okay, so to my knowledge, unless if I'm forgetting, some of the besides the PlayStation console itself, I guess we can talk about that too. I guess it looks like a router. Um, they announced God of War 2 Ragnarok.
yeah.
That was a really short teaser trailer. Side note: have you beaten the first one?
No, haven't even had
Yeah.
time.
Ugh, ugh. All right, and then apparently this is going to be cross-platform, but I only saw it on this trailer. Freaking Hogwarts Legacy. Did you see that?
Yeah, that should be good. I'm excited to play that, even if
Dude,
it's going to be bad.
I I know that probably wasn't like actual gameplay footage or whatever, but I was like I was into it. And I know I'm rather new to the pothead. Is that what they're called? Potterheads? Potheads? Sorry.
I don't think so, but
The fandom of Potters, the Potter fandom. But no, I was really into that.
yeah, it's anyone who has watched the movies at any point in time could probably find enjoyment out of this game, even if it's going to be bad, like I said earlier. But we'll see. I don't know. I'm definitely a pessimist when it comes to new releases at this point in time. I just need a game to come out and just be objectively good.
Which ones coming out in the near future do you think are going to hit that mark or close to it?
Well, I mean, there's a lot going into the new Demon Souls remaster. I mean, the original Demon Souls is a good game already, so as long as they don't break it in any way and they just up the graphics and stuff, then that's fine for me. That I'll be completely content. But I guess it's not really a new release, so it doesn't really count since it's just a remaster.
Yeah, and not that I'm totally going to be able to do a deep dive into it, but I think Cyberpunk might get pretty close to that. You think?
Well, it's definitely promising that they're willing to delay it for polish and stuff. I think
Sure.
that shows some integrity on the developers' part and even the publishers that hey, and you know what? The it's CD Project Red, right? So they did Witcher
Yep.
3. Their
Yep.
first two Witcher games were kind of well, we don't like to talk about them, but
Sure.
um, the third one's good. A lot of people like that game, so as long as they just stick with that formula, it's going to be different though. But I'm just hoping it meets our expectations at this
Sure.
point.
Sure.
It's another game where I probably won't get it on release, but
No, I probably won't either for a few reasons, but that's neither here nor there. What else you got besides console conundrums?
well, Mario 3D All Stars came out, so
Okay.
and I bought it because
Oh,
my childhood and nostalgia, and so I
right.
I bought it and it finally came, and so pardon this little mini rant of mine, but I ordered it for a day one delivery, right? So it was supposed to come the day I ordered it. Hello, Josh. I see you now.
I turned on the camera just so you could see my face.
I ordered it for day one delivery from GameStop because I don't know why I chose GameStop. It was just the first one on Google. It doesn't show up until the 22nd, and GameStop had already shipped it. This was all on FedEx. It just sat in their warehouse for 4 days.
This GameStop, the store, shipped the game to you?
No, they shipped it there. They supplied it to FedEx, who was going to do
Gotcha.
the shipping. And so they did that when they said they would. It sits in a warehouse for FedEx. No one touched it. Like, you know how if you like do the tracking, they'll send you updates like,
Yes.
hey,
Sometimes I get text updates because I'm a psychopath.
right. That's why I was doing that, because nothing was
Okay.
happening. They finally even put a shipping label on it. I don't know why FedEx is this detailed. They finally told me they put a shipping label on it a day before it shipped, on like the 23rd or 22nd or something. It came out on the 18th, and it was supposed to show up on the 18th, and it didn't.
But
So
you
I was-
have it now.
I do. It
Okay,
finally did
okay.
come in. I thought
So
it
you
was just never going to come in.
So you had it. It was a long, rough journey, but you have it now, and you've been
Yes.
playing it, presumably.
Mhm.
Are you happy? Is your childhood fantasies fulfilled?
Yeah, I mean, my only complaint with it, and it's a minor one, like a very minor one, is that for Mario Sunshine, which was the GameCube Mario game, you can't use a GameCube controller on it, and I don't know how they. It's just interesting that you can't use that controller on that game.
But you're not better then.
No, I like the game. It's actually really good. It's just Mario, so
It is Mario. Well, good. I'm glad you have a little fun side game there going on for you. Something to lighten the mood. Get things vibing with Mario.
yeah, it's something I can just turn on and start playing a little bit, and so it doesn't take a lot of energy. Doesn't take any investment. You just jump around and collect coins and stars.
You jump on people's heads and assume that it's okay.
Yes.
My brother and I hopped back on frickin' Ghost Recon Breakpoint for a few nights in a row because they dropped a new, like, I don't think it's technically a DLC so much as it is an expansion. They're the same thing. I don't remember. It's free. But I've been enjoying that because that's, that falls into the category of easygoing comfort food game, so to speak. I have something else here. Not as happy as your Mario news. So Mandalorian season 2,
Yeah.
it's a thing. October 30th. I think we knew that. We had already discussed.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Hang on. Wait till I drop this on you. Dramatic pause.
Oh no, I'm so tense now. What's gonna
No,
happen?
it's okay. Don't be tense. You relax those shoulders. No, so I watched it was a YouTuber. It's a YouTube video. I can send you the link. I don't want to go into detail. Long story short, they had from very reliable sources that the Mandalorian season 2, Jon Favreau says it will focus heavily on other characters that don't include the Mandalorian, Pedro Pascal. A few different reasons for that, story-wise and whatever, but also apparently, and I think this is part of the rumor mill, Pedro Pascal, who plays the Mandalorian, left halfway through filming due to creative differences. And some of those creative differences had to do with him wanting to film scenes without his helmet on, helmetless. But the Mandalorian team wanted the helmet on because mysterious helmeted man. Yeah,
it's interesting.
It is interesting. And so obviously take that with a grain of salt, do your own Googling or whatever. But I thought that was interesting. Did you see the teaser trailer that they put out for it a few days ago?
Not. Well, I saw the one that was a while ago.
What happened in it?
Oh, I don't remember.
Okay.
Mandalorian stuff.
Mandalorian things, right? Did you see when he's about to get in a fight and then the child is in his little bassinet and then he closes the roof or whatever?
Doesn't it happen in the last season too? I don't know. I probably didn't see the one you're talking about.
Okay, it's fine. It's fine. There were definitely Mandalorian things happening. And I totally forgot that apparently Ahsoka is supposed to be in it still.
I did hear about that, yeah.
Yeah, and like Boba Fett as well, and like all these crazy things. So yeah, I don't know. The Dune trailer. Did you see the Dune trailer?
I did, and
Yo,
I'm excited about this.
yo, looks pretty cool, right?
I do need to go back and reread the book because it's been a long time since I
Yeah,
read the
I'm about
book.
to finish it. There, because the first book, there's, and I'm probably gonna do a horrible job explaining it, so I apologize to people with better memories. The first book is like three books combined, or something like that, three different sections. So I've read the first two, and I'm on the last one now, and I haven't kicked my butt into gear to finish it. But no, the trailer looked real cool, man. I mean, I'm super into it. Really a big fan of like all the actors that they got. Some big names in there. That sandworm was pretty dope. It sounds like this was going to be a trilogy of sorts, which, you know, if any movie is going to be a trilogy, I'm not mad at this one,
So a
or at
lot of
least
content.
a lot of content, a lot of books, both good and bad from what I've heard. Um, but yeah, so I think that'll be good. I think that'll be one that I would be more than willing to leave my house to go view at some point. Um, but on the more tragic side, I'm not sure if you saw this. Black Widow has been officially delayed until May 7th, 2021.
Oh man,
We're never getting the movie.
I think the movie's done. I think they're just
Oh, it's
delaying it,
done.
and
Oh,
they're just
it's
waiting till they can put it in theaters and people will go see it.
that's 100% the reason. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Which I mean, you can't be like mad because they want to make money, I guess.
hmm
I guess. But yeah, it's really inconvenient for me. I mean, because apparently, and I can't remember all the numbers that came out, you know, in the wake of Disney releasing their Mulan live action adaptation or whatever on Disney Plus, you know, for an extra $30
hmm
paywall or whatever. I besides the movie itself, I can't remember if that was deemed officially a win or not as far as how many people chose to buy it, you know.
I
Uh,
heard there are a lot of people sharing accounts, so they only had to pay the one price to watch it instead of everyone paying $30 to go see the movie on Disney Plus. Just share an
yeah.
account.
Well, I'm thinking
There was a lot
yeah.
of people upset about that price point, and for good reason. I mean,
It,
it may have been like, well, we need to make up our money loss
yeah.
by doing it this way, but consumers paying $30 for a remake of a movie that they're not
Yep.
even excited about because they took
Yep.
out Mushu. I mean, come on.
Yep. Mushu.
And I wasn't the only one. I was comically upset about that, but like there was other people who were, actually mad because he's like their favorite character, and that's
Yeah.
interesting. But
Well, it is. And you know, and so making that comparison to, well, they could have just released Black Widow on, you know, Disney Plus with a paywall. Again, just to be clear, I would have paid $30 to see Black Widow. That's
yeah,
neither here nor there. But it is beneficially delayed till 2021. And so that kind of pushed the rest of Marvel's slate back as well. And I didn't write those dates down, but they pushed, you know, Shang-Chi, The Legend of the Ten Rings, that's been pushed back. Eternals has been pushed back.
so
I think the new
I
Spider-Man too.
speaking of Marvel movies, I'm interested to see how they're going to get the excitement rolling again for their movies. Besides, like, we all want to see Black Widow, but for their new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because Thanos is gone, he's defeated. There's
He's
no
super
big
dead.
right, there's no big bad, there's no overarching story. You've killed off people's favorite characters. Where do you go from here?
I've heard. I've. Oh man, we got to do our freaking top 20, the 22 movie list that we did or whatever. We got to do that next. That's next time. Um, I've heard rumors that, you know, not that they're gonna do Thanos all over again as far as whatever, but just the idea of there being a centralized villain of sorts. Maybe not to the cosmic level of Thanos, but just, you know, something to amount to.
There
Ant
are
Man.
others.
Oh yeah, Ant Man 3 has been announced. Kang the Conqueror has been announced as like the villain of that movie. Did you see that?
I haven't seen anything about Ant-Man 3, so I need to go and look that stuff up.
Yeah. So Kang the Conqueror. I can't remember all the details of him as a character, but he's been cast as the villain. Um, you know, I've heard rumors that, you know, Doctor Doom might be the next big bad. Modoc, Galactus. You know, none of this has been, you know, from official
Mm.
websites or whatever, but just this could be this. And if they ever, if those cowards at Disney ever reboot the Fantastic Four with John Krasinski and Emily Blunt, you could very easily build up to a Doctor Doom type thing. But just thoughts. I like talking about it. It's fun.
Yeah, I think for sure, if they're gonna do another big bad villain, I hope that they take a few different turns from their first big decade-long scheme of movies. First of all, make the Hulk good again. So I'm
No.
just gonna put
That's
that.
another thing. She-Hulk has been cast. Did you see that? Sorry.
I heard the rumors that there was gonna be a She-Hulk. Who's casted?
A girl that you wouldn't know, mainly because I didn't know her, and that's not a bash, but I feel like you and I are kind of in the same sources. If that
Well,
makes sense.
interesting. So is there actually going to be a live action She-Hulk movie?
It's a show on Disney Plus.
Oh.
It's a show on Disney Plus. Mark Ruffalo is going to be in it to some extent, confirmed. Ugh. Also, the WandaVision trailer came out. Sorry, all this stuff is just coming to me now.
I did
Um,
see the WandaVision trailer. Looks
what'd you think?
interesting. It's
Looks-
really
Looks
yeah.
good. Looks good. I think it looks good.
Seems like her powers are backfiring on her. Interesting.
Seems like she's in a mind prison of her own making.
hmm
But then again, aren't we all?
Some more than others, I think. Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
anyway,
well.
anyway, what do you got? What do you got?
if, like we were saying, if they're going to do it again and they're going to make a big villain, your main characters in the story, they did fine. Captain America, the Iron Man, the Thor, they had plenty of development. They each had 3 movies. Black Widow doesn't get a movie until the conclusion,
Yeah, man, I know.
and it's a prequel. I'm
Yeah.
excited for it because I
Oh
want
yeah.
some Black Widow, but I'm upset it took this long. Hulk only gets 1 movie, and they changed the actor.
It's barely canonical. Canonical?
I don't know. It's pretty. I mean, the stuff in it is canon. Besides Norton, I mean, you've got the secretary. He's in it.
Yeah, yeah.
He's a
Ross.
general in this one, but he becomes a secretary. So they have some stuff in it. It's just like they never touched on it again. There was nothing
Right.
to tie Hulk's story in, and so then the Hulk becomes a comedic factor point, even though he's like supposed to be one of the main 5, right? And I feel like Hawkeye got more development than the Hulk throughout the series. Like literally, when that even in I don't know the Ultron when they see his family, right, and they go to that safe house or whatever.
Right.
I feel like that's more development than the Hulk got in after the Hulk movie in like the 9 years that they did these movies. Just no development.
I know that the Hulk is a very sensitive topic for you.
Yes.
Some wounds never heal. No,
And
go
okay, so as much as I might gripe and complain, I think Marvel did a really good job, and it's definitely for what they did and for having to do this for 10 years, keep the
Yeah.
actors for 10 years, keep
Yep.
the same writers and make sure everything works together and there's very, very little plot holes. I mean, there are some pretty big plot holes, but that's unavoidable with something this long.
Sure.
They did a fantastic job. Captain America became what I wanted him to be. Using the hammer was like
Yep.
fangirl moment for me.
Yep. We all squealed. Don't try to hide it.
It was too short-lived, I think, and then just making him old and being done with him. I wanted to see more Captain America. But I will it was a decent ending. I will not complain about that too much because he was just a good character throughout. I feel like
Yes.
he was weaker in the end until that moment, but because he kind of, he's a rogue. He's kind of a bad guy now. He's not even wearing his colors anymore. He's wearing black and he has a
He
beard.
has a beard. Yeah, right.
The beard almost made up for it.
That was a pretty good beard.
Yeah, there was just some interesting things. I think the movies, just the final 2 movies, my only really complaints besides the Hulk, which I won't rant about that anymore, is
Mm.
they have some power scaling issues in those movies.
Yeah, we've discussed power issues.
But then at least, they didn't just throw it all away like DC did with their Justice League shenanigans.
Shenanigans is a good word, my friend.
Well, I don't know. It's like you have this perfect model laid out for you in what Marvel did, and then you choose not to do it for, well, we want to be different. I don't know.
Well, at the risk of going off on a further rabbit trail of this, you know, I agree with you, but also if they did do that, then one would assume that they would get casted or whatever as just copying Marvel, which sure, because technically you would be, but also I don't think it's some big mind-blowing thing. What is that risky to say? It's not a big mind-blowing thing what Marvel did so much as how they pulled it off. Does
Right.
that make sense? Would you agree
Well,
with that?
well, yeah. I mean, just bringing the characters together, having
Right.
cameos in other shows and stuff. I think they could have done more of that. Actually, have more like duos in movies. I think that would have made more sense. There
Hmm.
was some, and some of the minor characters would jump around. They had stuff like Doctor Strange and Thor Ragnarok, and the
Right.
Hulk
Yep,
and Thor
yep, yep, yep,
Ragnarok.
yep.
That was like I wanted, and Thor Ragnarok's probably one of my favorite movies of the whole
Yup.
franchise.
We'll get to the
Um,
list.
But I wanted to see more of that in the earlier movies, like
Sure.
just showing stuff, and they had some of it. At the end of credit scenes, I mean,
Yep.
were huge in tying everything together, and you could even say that they kind of relied on the end of credit scenes to tie the movies from one to
Right.
the other.
I mean, the Ant-Man and the Wasp, correct me if I'm wrong, the second end credit scene of Ant-Man and the Wasp is the single aspect that tied it together to Infinity War.
Yeah.
Right? Wasn't there the first one had to do with Ant-Man and his own mythos. And then the second one, yeah, was the misting. No spoilers intended, but
Right.
watch movies.
And I did say that Thor Ragnarok was one of my favorite of the franchise. A little mini tangent again.
Mm.
I just recently rewatched it. I was just doing some cleaning and I had the movie on while I was doing that. And
Pretty good.
I still have some problems with the Hulk. The weird, they have Ruffalo voice acting and the weird, I don't know, auto tune they do to his voice when he's
Did you like the Hulk in
talking.
the bathtub?
That whole scene could have just been thrown out and I would have been happy. I understand it's comical, but if you're a Hulk fan, it's like you're just face palming the whole time. Like that's not, the Hulk isn't like that. He just isn't. And I don't know. And then the auto tune sounds way off when he's talking. They like applied the same auto tune filter that they do when he's screaming, which makes more sense there when he's like, roaring. But then when he's just talking, it sounds so fake. And I encourage you to go watch that scene again and just listen to the Hulk, and you'll understand what I'm saying.
Just because you ruined your day doesn't mean I want to do the same to mine.
It definitely ruined my day. And also,
I'm sorry.
the whole point of the movie, that I know, like speaking of end credit scenes,
You're ranting again.
the whole end of credit scene that they have where Thanos' ship shows up and just kills all the people on the Asgard is a people, not a place. And then they massacre all the people.
They sure did. But I mean, there were a few survivors, remember? Because in Endgame, they brought them to Norwegian land or wherever they ended up.
Well, they get revived because of the Hulk snap, right?
Oh, is that what happened? I didn't recall. Yeah, very well could have been.
But like that was the thing. It's like the whole point of Thor Ragnarok is to rescue the people, and then they just get slaughtered by Thanos. I'm thinking, what's the point? I understand you're tying it together, but you threw your movie in the trash. And Hela is this amazing character, which is one of the reasons why I like that movie. And I wish they didn't kill her off. I wish she survived.
Everyone has to die.
No, she doesn't have to die because first of all, she's my favorite actress, and second of all, that was a great character, and it would have been interesting to see them deal with her. Or maybe
they dealt with her all right. They
only
dealt
one-
with her too well.
The only one who would have stood a chance in that fight would be Hulk. They did a really good job of trying to write in a story point for why the Hulk and Hela didn't go at it, because then they would have had to show the Hulk either win or show the Hulk lose in a way he shouldn't have lost.
Can you imagine the conversation we'd be having now if the Hulk lost in that fight?
I'd be more willing to see him lose there than against Thanos with one stone. Hela is stronger than Thanos with one stone. It's just, she literally would have, I mean, like, Surtur ended up beating her, but, like, she was beating Surtur until that moment. And he's literally capable of destroying planets. That's the whole issue with power scaling. The fact that Hulk walked up there and took 0 damage from this massive demigod blowing up a planet. Yeah. And then Thanos can just punch him a couple times and he's down. What? That anyway.
All right.
Rant
Yeah.
rant
No,
over.
you're good. You're good. I don't disagree with you. I- in a very, in a very, wow, I just had a mini stroke. In a very unfortunate turn of events, this is going to be a shorter episode because I have a dinner date that I got to dash off to. Is there anything of note on your side of your list that you got?
Well, other than the fact that I'll probably be buying a PS5 at some point. I don't know when,
Hmm.
and I don't know which version.
You're gonna wait for the reviews or whatever. You're gonna wait for a few more models down the road.
Well, there's no models. Period. They're all sold out right now.
Well, right. I mean, as opposed to the day one ish model, I guess.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I know Demon Souls is a launch remake, and I want to play that, and I
Hmm.
probably will. I don't know how many of those games are coming to PC, but what I do know is that I want them, and that I'm going to be
I want
getting
them
them.
now.
I just can't decide if I need a disc drive or not.
Yeah, yeah. I think I'm okay with declaring that I don't need one. Um, but that could be a whole other conversation in and of itself.
We're just
But hey,
getting old, Josh.
we're getting old and gross, and with that, we're gonna need to get the frick out of here. So we've been the Greater Mythos podcast. If you're listening on Apple devices, you can give us a rate, leave us a review. If you hated us, let us know. If you liked us, let Josh know specifically. The other one, we're on Spotify. You can subscribe there. iTunes, like I said, podcast, Google Podcasts, on YouTube as well. All that fun stuff. New episodes every Friday. It's what we try to do. Fridays are for the boys. Is that how that goes? Fridays? Is it Fridays? Saturdays?
We'll go with that. We'll go with that.
Fridays feels good. Let's get out of here.